Ordinary Average Guy podcast show. Yeah, everybody, how you doing? The 10s and 10s out there listening. Episode number 2, season 2. Coming at you, previously recorded from the Buxy Hootie Studios. Well, it's been 15 days or so. 15 days since I've talked to you guys last, and my God. I never would have thought two people for my in my life, not that I know personally, but obviously we all know about Ozzy Osbourne, Hulk Hogan passing away, and Ozzy Osbourne, Hulk Hogan, I'm not going to sit here and talk too much wrestling. I know the 10s and 10s aren't crazy about that, but I think, we got to tip our cap to Hulk Hogan, whether you like him or not, especially with some of his beliefs that he was pretty vocal about later on in life. Maybe you probably don't like him, but what he's done for wrestling and entertainment, without him, I don't think, obviously wrestling is one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. I love it with all my heart. And without him, it would not be what it is today. And whether you like it or not, you have to admit it's a phenomenon right now. And it's in stars, The Rock, right? He's a Hollywood star. John Cena, Hollywood star. Stone Cold Steve Austin is a household name. He didn't really do the movie thing. He just didn't really want it to Hulk Hogan. But Hulk Hogan is the guy that, if without him, none of that exists. I firmly believe that. And then Ozzy Osbourne is the same. It's just crazy that these two guys died just so close together. It was weird. Ozzy, again, you might not like his music, but I do. I do a lot. Ozzy was he's not my favorite. Like right now, I've said it, my favorite band. It's kind of a toss-up between Rush and Pearl Jam. But Ozzy is definitely in my top 5. And he was my first ever favorite artist. I was a little kid. My old man liked him. And, so you listen, you tend to like what your dad likes if you're a guy, and I was like, and I still do, I listen to Ozzy all the time, especially, and then I kind of got into Black Sabbath. The thing about Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne is when you really listen to the two types of music, yeah, it's both rock and roll, heavy metal, if you will, but it is, to me, it's different. Black Sabbath is very, very heavy on the riffs. If you're a guitar guy or woman, a riff is like Iron Man. Dun, 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 dun. That's a riff, right? When you get into, and I mean, it's just, if I like heavy riffs like that, I just do. And you turn on a Black Sabbath record, and it's just, they were the best at it. They were the best at it. And again, without Black Sabbath, you don't have, I just don't have the music industry the way it is right now. Again, and I don't, and maybe you don't like that type of music, but I feel like there's, the people that you do like were probably inspired by that in some way. So, you just have this kind of like this domino effect, so it's kind of one of those things, it's like Rush, for example, I've heard a lot of people say, a lot of people may not like Rush, but whoever you do like your favorite band, Rush is their favorite band, right? And I feel like that's probably the same, like with Black Sabbath, for example, like people that are musicians and bands they understand how awesome and amazing they are. And then when Ozzy went solo, Then you have Randy Rhoads as a guitarist, and it's kind of totally different. It's more, now you got more of like a melodic deal going on, and more obviously solo, heavy on the solos, stuff like that, and it was totally different. If you really listen to the two, it's actually like totally different. So that's my opinion, I guess. So anyway, it's just crazy that it's just like, man, and Ozzy just had that that final farewell concert. He just had it, and then he died like 2 weeks after that. It's kind of like when the Ultimate Warrior got inducted into the Hall of Fame and then died the next day. It's just like, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's weird, but I'm getting to that age now. Well, I'm not even that freaking old, man. I'm 37 years old, right? So, but I'm an old soul. So a lot of the stuff I like my favorite, like here's a perfect example. Like my 5 favorite bands: Rush, Pearl Jam. Then it's like Neil Young, Ozzy. And then, I haven't put a lot of thought into this, but I always said The Who. Well, not one of those. Pearl Jam is the youngest band of all those, and they came out with their first record in 91. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm an old soul. And like everybody, and I've looked back on the bands that I've seen. Like, I was fortunate enough to see Rush live. Their drummer, Neil Peart, died. So, obviously I was lucky to see that. I saw Tom Petty passed away. I was able to experience that, though. Soundgarden. I saw Soundgarden live on my 25th birthday at the rave. But then, Chris Cornell passed away. And I did see Ozzy. I saw Ozzy live at Rock USA before COVID. So I was able to, see him. And it was a great show. It was awesome. I remember it like it was yesterday. So, I mean, it's, if you're into music or if you're into stuff, anything, like, obviously music's the first thing to think about, but if your band or your favorite person is coming to town, make sure you check them out, because it's just like all of a sudden you go on the news next day and they're no longer with us, So I don't know. I'm glad I got to see all those guys live. I never saw Hogan in person, but I'll be honest with you, I understand Hogan. I never really watched Hogan, though. That's the thing. Like, I understand what he did for wrestling. But I never, he was before my time, obviously. I wasn't, and I never watched WCW. Like, I was a WWF guy, so I didn't watch him in WCW. And when he was in the WWF, I was just little, so I wasn't watching it, watching it yet. So I know Hogan just because I'm a wrestling historian, if you will, but I never, like if Stone Cold and Bret Hart and those, like, when they kick the bucket, that's going to hit harder for me personally, but I just understand what Hogan did. So I had I know some buddies that went, because Hogan was out and about, trying to sling his beer. He was slinging beer as real American beer or whatever, and actually I got a couple pictures of some buddies of mine that went and saw him, and it's cool, I guess. But at the end of the day, like, I that didn't, Ozzy, that sucks, though. Which, it is what it is, What are you going to do? And like I said, and all my favorite things they're all old. All my favorite people are old. So, it's going to be a lot of, yeah, it's going to be, it's just bound to happen. All these people are going to start kicking the bucket. Speaking of music, I don't know if you're going to be in the Appleton Appleton area this weekend. I am telling you right now, this is I'm not getting anything for saying this. God, there's no way. But Mile of Music, I think it's the 12th year, Mile of Music 12. I've never missed a year, ever, in my whole life. Never missed a year. My wife and I go. Usually we run into people that we know down there every year and we hang out with. And it's a blast. So if you're into live music, and especially if you're into live, nothing against like cover bands and stuff like that. Nothing at all against cover bands. But when it comes to, it's just cool to see original music. And man, do they bring in some good bands. Over the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of cool music, cool bands, people coming in, and it's like, again, it's original music that, singers, songwriters, and it's awesome. They're very talented. It's not just, like me playing guitar at a bonfire. Over the 4th of July, we went up north. My brother was like, dude, you bring a guitar? And I'm like, no one wants to fucking listen to that. Nobody wants me. And I don't even know. I want to get to the point, and I haven't been playing guitar a whole lot because I've been trying to get my I've been really taking this woodworking thing to the next step. And by next step, I mean I have an Instagram account for it, which I don't know how it works. Instagram, dude. I just feel like I'm an 80-year-old man in a 37-year-old guy's body. I don't know. I'm looking at this Instagram, for example, and I got like this page for like this woodworking stuff I'm doing. And like I click this home, so you can you can post a story, right? And then you can just post a post, I guess. But then there's like, I just don't understand any of this stuff at all. And then if you post a story, then what's the hell's the difference between a story and a reel? And then I thought I had my Instagram and my Facebook linked together so that if I posted on one, it would just automatically go to the other. And that's not working for shit. So then, it's just, I don't know how this thing, I just don't get it, dude. And these people that are like always, like these content creators, for example, like I just don't understand how the hell they do it. Like, how do you... And then you have threads. Like, okay, so what... Can someone explain to me a thread? All right? And then you have a reel, and then you have a story, and then you just have a post. What the hell's the difference between all these things? I don't know, man. I just don't get it. I don't understand it at all, dude. And, because then, like, I'm on Instagram right now. I'm looking at this. So if you look at a page, you have on the far left, you have like a 3x3 grid. Okay, so that's something. Then you click one over. Okay, so these just must be. Okay, so that must just only be videos. But then you click one over to the right, and it's like this little, it's like a guy's face so what would this be? Is these things maybe you shared or something like that? I don't know. Like, I got, if I'm going to do this, I got to take a class almost to understand what the hell all this shit means, because I just don't understand. I don't get it. And, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to get the word out there about my amazing woodworking abilities. And I just don't, I don't know. And then, and then you go on the Facebook and trying to do shit on there. And then, sharing stuff. And I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. And then I got this podcast and I don't know how to do this. I can't get more than 10 followers. It's just one thing after another, and all I got my mind set on is this week. And I took Friday off of work, man. Friday off of work, PTO. And so Thursday night, my mom is watching our kids. So me and my old lady are going downtown Appleton hopefully Thursday early evening, preferably. Going down there, I looked up some bands and people that I want to see. ChatGPT. Okay, I will say this. If you go back and listen to episodes from season 1, you'll hear me talk about AI. I think a little bit where and I probably spoke about it negatively. But similar to Crocs, I've done a 180 on AI. I'm all about it. And I don't care how much water it takes to use AI. I do not give two shits. AI, ChatGPT is freaking cool, man. And I was able to ask it, like, Mila Music has an app that you can go on there. It has all the artists on there and stuff like that. And I mean, but there's a lot of artists. So I just went on AI and I straight up said, let me see if I can find it. I just straight up asked. I said, hey, I'm going to Mila Music. These are the bands I like. Like Rush, Pearl Jam, and then I was like, these are the bands I liked that have been at Mila Music in the past. Who should I go see this year? And AI literally gave me a list of people that was, like, here you go, dude. Check these guys out. This guy, this band, this band, this band, this band. And it was just, I don't know. I just don't see how that's not cool. Now I can understand people like, and then my wife was telling me about ChatGPT made this guy go like insane or something like that because he was trying to like go on there and ask it, stuff like how I don't know. It was, I don't know. But there's all sorts of these goofy people, like marrying AI, stuff like that. I'm not gonna marry AI. I hope not. That'd be weird. But, a lot of people make love to their phone, so they're already halfway there. I'm trying to find, now, lo and behold, I can't find the message, but I'm telling you, dude, AI, the ChatGPT thing is pretty cool. Here, Etsy shop setup guide, griddle comparison guide. Oh, can't wait to get to the emails. I hope people have wrote back to me about last 2 weeks ago when I asked that question about charcoal grill versus gas grill. You only had 2 weeks to write an email, so we'll see. I have a feeling, I don't know, I didn't see my inbox light up that much, though, so. But anyway, so that's what I got going on, man. The dog is doing good. I freaking stepped in dog shit the other day with my bare foot, though. Oh, I was ready to send that dog back to Texas right then and there. I said, oh my God, I was so pissed. I'm not anti-dog. I was not against getting a dog. I was the last guy to sign off on having a dog, but I'm putting a lot of work and effort. As you guys know, I'm putting a lot of work and effort into my lawn, and I wasn't really too psyched about having a dog just mess up the lawn. And now I look in the back, and so I set down some rules. I said I want that dog only to be shitting and pissing in the backyard. And preferably I want to train this dog where he shits in like the back corner of the yard. Whatever. Anyway, the other day, Sunday it was, I was drinking a couple beers, and walking around barefoot because we were swimming in that frickin' pool, which is just, I can't wait to fall. I can't wait to get that thing closed up. That pool, man. Anyway, so all of a sudden I'm walking around barefoot, and sure enough, I step in it, and I'm just like, God, because I I haven't gotten used to like walking with my head down looking for dog doo-doo. So I wasn't looking, and stepped right in. And then, of course, my wife's like, well, you got to be looking for it. And it's like, oh, man. Yeah, I guess. But, yeah, it just, I don't know. It is what it is. And the dog doesn't like me at all. He hates me for some reason. We think it was a rescue dog. So we think that the dog had a owner or somebody in its life at one point that must have been a male and must have been abusive or something. It had to have, because, yeah, he doesn't care for me, and I'm nice. I'm nice to it. I'm like, oh, hey, hi, and he just runs away. And he loves my wife, goes up to my wife all the time. Is really good with the kids, likes playing with the kids. But dude, he just runs away from me like I'm Satan or something. So I don't know what's going on there. Oh my God, I apologize. I'm breathing so heavy. I don't know what the hell the deal is. I just feel like I'm gonna pass out. I'm drinking Spindrift sparkling water right now. It's real squeezed fruit, lemon, unsweetened, no added sugar, no sugar at all. Actually, the ingredients is carbonated water and lemon juice. There's not even natural flavors in this thing, which I heard once upon a time that natural flavors isn't good for you either. But yeah, my wife's been drinking a Spindrift, and I was going to come down here and do the podcast, and I was like, gosh, I grab a beer, I'm doing the podcast, I should be drinking a beer. Ordinary average guy kind of goes with it, but I've been trying to, actually, after Mile of Music this weekend, I'm going to try to take the month, well, with the exception of the 1st and 2nd of August. Let me look here once. So, yeah, with the exception of the 1st, 2nd, and maybe 3rd of August, I'm going to try to take off the whole month of August. And I'm going to try to not drink any alcohol. None. I'm going to try to drink 0 alcohol. I'm going to be doing a wedding. I am the minister of a wedding in September, early September. And I'm just looking at the oh shit. I'm looking at the calendar. This isn't good. We're double booked. Fuck. Dude, I'm the minister of a wedding on September 6th. And I'm looking at the calendar here. September 6th. We're going to, well, we're not going to be going to anymore. We're supposed to go to a frickin' Badger game. God damn it. That's not cool. Oh, that sucks. I was looking forward to that Badger game, and I was also looking forward to being a minister at a wedding. Gosh darn it. Dude, that's the thing about these calendars. I wish you just had a calendar. I don't know. Like, sometimes you just miss the good old-fashioned calendar on the wall. You just write it on the wall. It's right there. You just take a pen, write your thing on the wall. Here, when you have your phone calendar, especially you don't have, like, I do envy people that really got, like, they have their technical stuff together. Like, they really know how to use this stuff. And they have, like, their, me personally, every day, dude, I have a planner. Every day, planner. Paper and pen. I write down my to-do list. This is what I need to do today. Boom, 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 boom. And then if I have a lot of stuff I have to do, I even number it in order of priority. That's how I roll. That's how I roll, man. And when I'm done with something, I cross it off. Last year, I tried using Outlook as my to-do list. I try to do it, try to go with the times here, be all about technology. And I just, oh man, I was so like, there was just something about having this in your hand, right here, having it, boom. You know, and then, September 3rd? Yeah, September 3rd. I'm open. You know, I'll be there. 3 o'clock. Done. It's in the book. And but then when you go out the calendar, like, for example, let me just try to pretend to make something up here for, okay, so I'm going to you add the plus, title, Yo Mama, Yo Mama, and we're going to do this for August 2nd, 9, and then you got to flip the thing, and you got to make sure it's on AM, PM, and then there's the end time. How often have you looked at an event and it's all day long? Because you have, or it's like only like an hour long when it's supposed to be all day long because you didn't flick the switch. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm technically a young person. That's what's weird, is because I'm technically a young person. Everyone always says, "Oh, you're so young," like old people say that. But I do feel really old. But then at the same time, I feel immature. You ever feel like that, where it's like you feel like you're an old person? Like, I'm literally at work at my day job. We have some younger guys that just got hired, and they're they're not they're not nerds by any means, but they're just young, so they're doing stuff on computers. And I'm just like, what does that button do? What are you doing? And this was the first year, I think, where that whereas like all of a sudden I flipped a switch from being a young person in the workplace. And I'm not old by any means. I mean, there's plenty of people older than I am. But, like, definitely, like, I've now, I'm in a different, I'm old, like, I'm an older person now, because I'm a millennial, which, by the way, I've said this before, millennials get shit on too much, and we shouldn't be. Actually, when I was younger, I was like, oh, I don't want to be a millennial, I'm so ashamed to be a millennial. Actually, I'm proud to be a millennial. And I'm proud to be a millennial. I'm proud, man. I was born in the 80s, grew up in, late 80s, 90s, growing up in the 90s, and then 2000s. I love, there's a meme where there's like this like millennial, they're sitting back with sunglasses on, like, yeah, I lived through 9/11. I lived through, all these endless wars, and they just like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, I got it all figured, whatever. I don't know. I think millennials get kind of shit on too much, and it needs to stop, because we are the backbone. We are the bridge between old people and like the young people. Like, we're the bridge. You know what I mean? We see both sides. We understand the old people's side, but we can talk and relate to. Now, I don't know. This guy at work, what the frick did he call a hot dog the other day? He called a hot dog what the shit was it? It was like here, check this out. I'm going to ask Copilot. So Copilot I have on my phone too, and I have it set up where she's supposed to talk to me.
Hey Justin, what's new?
Dude, call me J-Kenn, man.
You got it, J-Kenn, man. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's the term for a hot dog that a lot of young kids use these days?
Oh, they often call it a glizzy these days. That's the trendy term for a hot dog.
Oh man, what is that? Is there something behind that, or why do people call it that?
It's got a pretty interesting backstory, actually.
All right.
The term glizzy was originally slang for a gun in the Washington, D.C. area, but somehow it evolved to also mean a hot dog. Some say it's because of the similar shape. It's just one of those things that caught on, especially in online culture. It's a great example of how language evolves.
Yeah, true that, right? True that, my man. Hey, I got another question. I'm recording a podcast right now. Have you ever heard of the Ordinary Average Guy podcast show?
I haven't heard of it, but it sounds intriguing. What's the vibe of the show?
Never mind, man. If you don't know, you're not part of the tens and tens.
Got it. Maybe I'll catch up with it sometime. Anything else on your mind?
No,
J-Kenn?
no, thanks, dude. Later.
Catch you later, J-Kenn, man. Take care.
See, and then you can change the voice.
Let's explore the world together. I can be your son. What do you think? Could we make a good brainstorming duo?
I think so.
Get chatting. Looking for answers or a new perspective?
No, okay. I spent way too much time on that.
Figure it out together.
Shut up. So anyway, that was Copilot. So I do like ChatGPT because actually I was on ChatGPT and I did ask it about the Ordinary Average Guy podcast show and it gave me flowing reviews. Copilot didn't even know what it was. So Copilot can suck on this, man. But yeah, Glizzy. Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, you gonna go get a Glizzy for lunch?" And I'm like, I almost punched him in the face. What you talk? Don't talk that way to me, man. I'm your elder, dude. Don't talk that way to me. He said, "Yeah, it's a hot dog." It's like I don't know. I feel like I've gotten to that next step in my life. 37, 40's right around the corner. 40's right around the corner. So I don't know, and it's crazy. It's just freaking nuts. And I still feel like I don't feel. I remember when you were a kid, and like your parents were 40, or like your uncles and aunts were 40, like, and you were just a kid, and you're just like, man, they're old. They're just old people, and it just seemed like forever away. Like it just is this gonna be forever from now that you would actually be 40. And now it's like I'm 3 years from there, and it's just like this is just nuts. Like I just feel stupid. I don't know technology. I don't know the lingo that the kids are using. And I just, I don't, and I don't feel mature enough to be a 40-year-old man. And here I'm sitting with a wife and 3 kids and a white picket fence, and I'm living the American dream. I got all this stuff, and I look around, and it's like, man, I don't, how did this all happen? Like, where did all this stuff come from? I don't know. It's just nuts. And I often wonder, like, what my kids think, like, do they look at me like I looked at my parents and aunts and uncles when I was a kid, or, or even like neighbors that were older people, do they look at me like this brute of a man, or, I don't know. I did. Oh my God, I did. I did such a dad thing the other day. My son, we got him a new bed. And, oh man, as soon as it showed up in Amazon, I was just dreading it. I just knew, like, oh God damn it, I got to put this thing together. And, which is weird because like I said, I'm a craftsman. I'm a woodworker or whatever. So it's like, I like doing that kind of stuff. But when you do get something in a box, like an IKEA type thing, or anything that you have to put together, and it's just like, oh no, it just sucks. Anyway, so my son, and it's such a dad thing. I had the headboard put together, and I needed to stand it up so I could put some screws in, and I said, hold this up. And I just envision myself at that age. You know, it's kind of like there's another meme going around where it's like something about holding the flashlight for your dad. Like, you don't know what getting yelled at is until you hold a flashlight for, I don't know, something like that. And I remember, you know, you hold a flashlight and it's not in the right spot and you just get bitched at. And it's like, I had a moment where I was like, oh no, I'm turning into that person, because he was, I told him, I said, just hold it. It wasn't heavy. It's not heavy. I just needed a third arm, more or less. I just said, stand here and just hold this up. And he's doing this, but then he's kind of like doing this dance. You know, he's 6, right? So he's doing this dance or whatever, and he's watching TV at the exact same time. And one thing leads to another, and the goddamn thing falls over. And I just, and I didn't get, you know, like, it wasn't terrible, but I'm just like, you know, I dropped a goddamn it. I said, God damn it. Hold it up, you know, God damn it. Hold it up, I said. And I'm quick to be like, you know, sorry, I didn't mean to yell, you know, but because I don't want, you know, my kids growing up with, you know, mental issues or whatever. So I, you know, try not to, but it was just like an instinct, like a dad instinct, just like, God damn it, you know. And it was like, oh man, shoot, you know, and we were all good, you know. And then he helped me again, and then I gave him praise, you know. I'm so afraid about like messing the kids up. I'm just so afraid of it, but I don't know. I think I'm doing all right. The kid, my daughters and my son, the other day, well, they're just, you know, the music they're listening to. And I said that the other day, my son asked me, he's like, Dad, can we watch the Dukes of Hazzard? I have an old General Lee from when I was a kid. It's like a Hot Wheels car that looks like a General Lee, and I have it still. And that was one of my favorite shows as a kid. Go figure. And not because I'm a Southern racist, it's because because I'm an old soul. Which, by the way, we watched an episode, and there was some African Americans and some Asians in that, and they were just a part of the community. So I don't know. And then I watched, you know, and then I remember, yeah, there was a lot of episodes where they had people of all different ethnicities on that show as background characters. So, you know, props, you know, tip the cap to Dukes of Hazzard. Good for them. But anyway, so we went to a movie on Field of Scenes in Freedom. Recommended. It's a nice, cool place. It's an outdoor movie theater. We went last Friday, and they had this Dukes of Hazzard like toy car. It's got to be older than it's got to be 20. It's got to be old, man. Because then right next to it was like a Dale Earnhardt car. R.I.P. So. And my son, because he has the toy car, he's like, oh, Dad, the Dukes of Hazzard. Anyway, the next day, it was a Saturday, my son's like, Dad, can we watch the Dukes of Hazzard? And I'm like, oh, this is cool. You know, like, I got to be doing something right, because he, like, you know, wants to watch these old shows and stuff, and that I watched as a kid. And I was like, dude, I'm like, son, I don't think we're going to be able to find it because of woke culture and all the goddamn lefties. Just kidding. But not really, because it is a shame, because I did like that show, and because they have a Confederate flag on the roof of their car, you know, whatever. You know what's funny is that the Dukes of Hazzard are always about fighting the system, you know, fighting the system. You know, they're always against the police. And now the people that don't like the Dukes of Hazzard are also against the police. It's like, you're on the same side, guys. Anyway, that's enough political talk. Anyway, so we did find it though. We found it on Roku. You search for it. We found it, and we watched an episode, and he loved it, and he wanted to watch another episode. But we had to buy them. On Amazon Prime. It's on Amazon Prime, but you have to buy the you have to buy every episode. And it's like $1.99 an episode, and we had credits, so we were able to buy that one episode for free. And I was like, oh man, I don't know if I want to buy all these episodes. But anyway, Jesus Christ, that's what's going on in my life. Let's get to some emails. I do have a few emails and a few messages. Let's check it out here, man. So, Mamma Mia, here we come again. Da da, where can I? Why don't I know how to do any of this stuff? Oh, here we go. We have a message from Unsigned. Actually, it's from Ange. She just didn't sign it, but she said, "Hey, OAG, I want a shirt. One of the 10s and 10s. Put in an order." Awesome. Hell yeah. So now we got 2 people that want shirts. And actually, I posted that episode and I had a comment. I had a comment from Paul. One comment right here. Paul, I would get a shirt for sure. That was on Facebook on the Ordinary Average Guy podcast show. Paul Poto. I don't know how to say your name. I don't know how to say your last name, Paul. But it looks like it's a cool name, though. I'll tell you that. You have a cool last name. I wish I knew how to spell it. But you would get a shirt too. That's awesome. And Paul, I've seen you like stuff many times. I know you definitely are one of the 10s and 10s. I appreciate that. Ange is one of the 10s and 10s for sure. That's great. I love it. So yeah, I was just talking. So anyway, that being said, I was thinking about this. I'm gonna put how can I do this? Go on probably on Facebook, probably a message, shoot me a message or whatever. And, this won't be like an email for the show, but like shoot me a message. Maybe I'll, cause I was talking to my cousin actually, who she has a screen printing, I don't know if she has like a business or if it's more like a hobby, kind of like what I'm doing with the woodworking thing, but that's what she has, and she can make designs and all that stuff, and it's a screen printing business. So, because I know I have a shirt, and I'm gonna be wearing my shirt if my wife lets me. I'm gonna be wearing my shirt to Milo Music. So if you see a guy wearing an Ordinary Average Guy podcast show shirt, that's J-Kenn. That's the one and only J-Kenn coming down the road, coming down the sidewalk. That's me, dude. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But my other cousin, so I got all these cousins that make shirts, but they made them with a cricket. And I don't really know what a cricket is, but my other cousin was telling me that she can do screen printing, and she can do, like coasters, and she can do koozies, shirts, all that stuff. So, and then she also has, she can do like design work as well. She has Canva Pro. Now, my wife has Canva. I think probably 57% of women have Canva, but there's the free version and then there's the pro version. And my cousin here she was just texting me here, and she said that she has Canva Pro. And I believe you can do cooler, that's where all the tools are available to you. So, short story long, I'm going to get working on that. And we'll get some information out there and try to get some, something moving on that. And that'd be cool. That'd be awesome if we had people walking around, the 10s and 10s walking around with shirts on, or koozies or whatever. Stickers. She said she can do stickers too. So that's pretty sweet. So, yeah, it's in the works. It's in the works, guys. Emails. Now, again, you can always email me at J-Kenn, OAG, @outlook.com. And we have 3 emails here. That's awesome. All right. So, the first email here is from our dear good friend, he's definitely one of the 10s and 10s. Actually, his name is Actually, as in actually. All right, the title of the email is Happy for Season 2. He goes on to say, hey, J-Kenn, so happy to hear Season 2 is now released. However, I am sad that it won't be a weekly release. It used to make my Tuesday drive to work. Yes, I do. And I've heard that from a couple people, but it's just my mental state. To do it every week, especially because as an ordinary, people that come out like with podcasts every single week usually have something to talk about. And then even if they don't really have something to talk about, they're famous and people just are interested in their lives. So you can hear Shane Gillis or whatever, they can just talk, and then also it's easier if you have a co-host. I mean, it just is. If you have a co-host, it's easier to just talk off. Like that 20 seconds when I was talking to Copilot, that was the easiest part of the whole show. Like after a while, you can only say so much to yourself in the Buxty Hootie Studios, which is a very, just a dungy basement. So, doing it every other week, like I already knew in my head, like, okay, this is going to be just easier. I don't know if it's going to be better. I don't know if the content's better, but it's definitely going to be just easier. So I apologize, but it had to be done. And I'm not saying that there won't be a bonus episode every once in a while. If something cool is going on or whatever, throw out a bonus episode. So, but anyway, he goes on to say, love the idea of OAG reaching out to multiple ordinary people, i.e. ordinary average guy, ordinary average gal, ordinary average golfer. That is correct. We talked about that last week. He goes on to say, how about ordinary average... He goes on to say, how about ordinary average gay? I think you could really connect with this crowd. Just the thought. Thank you. Yes. It does start with a G. So we'll, have to keep that in the back of our head. My question for you on this episode. All right. Perfect. Awesome. My question for you on this episode is a hot dog a sandwich? My answer, as in his answer, is absolutely not. Glad you are back at it. Sincerely, your friend Actually. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Okay, so I can see you're a traditionalist. You're saying it's absolutely not. A hot dog is a hot dog. And I see where you're coming from because, really technically, so a hot dog it consists of a wiener, right? That's the meat, is the wiener. The meat, this is a common misconception here. The meat in a hot dog is not the hot dog. It is a wiener. Okay? So if someone were to say, I'll have a hot dog with no bun, that doesn't exist. That's not a thing. What you're having, sir, is a wiener. Okay? Now, if you take a wiener and you take a hot dog bun and you put them together, now you have a hot dog, right? So I can see where people would say, no, it's not a sandwich, it's a hot dog, right? But to answer your question, I'll give you two answers. I would never call a hot dog a sandwich. It would never... I don't even know why. It just would never come out of my mouth, other than right now. Like hot dog, I would never be like, "Hey, do you want a hot dog sandwich?" Like I don't even think I would say that. Well, maybe. Okay, side topic. I have done that where I've took two wieners, put them on a slice of bread, put another bread on top because I don't have any hot dog buns. So then I have a hot dog sandwich, I guess. But that would actually be a wiener sandwich, technically. That'd be a wiener sandwich, a double wiener sandwich. So, Yeah, I could, to be honest with you, yeah, hot dog, I would never say that. But I do believe, I would say, if you're being technical, if you're being actually technical, I would say it is a sandwich by definition. Because to me, a sandwich is meat sandwiched between two pieces of bread. And when you have a hot dog, it's a piece of meat sandwiched between, and it doesn't have to be two pieces of bread. Like if you fold over a piece of bread, then you sandwiched that meat in there, so you can use one piece of bread. So yeah, technically, it's a sandwich, but I would never call it that. It's like a thumb is a finger. All thumbs are fingers, but not all fingers are thumbs. It's one of those deals. You know what I mean? Your thumb is a finger, but you would never. Well, I guess you would. You'd be like, I got 5 fingers on my hand. So in that case, you would call your thumb a finger. But you would never be like, okay, if you cut your thumb off, you're not going to be like, you'd be like, I cut my thumb off. Whereas if you cut your pinky off, so pinky just is pinky. That's interesting. Your pointer is your pointer. I would say the majority of the people would call it a pointer finger. Middle finger, obviously middle finger. Ring finger. But then when you get to the pinky, that's just pinky. You don't throw the word finger at the end of that. It's just pinky. And same with thumb. You don't call it a thumb finger. It's just a thumb. So if you cut your pinky off, it's like, dude, I cut my pinky off. But if you cut your ring off, it's a ring finger. So I think it's one of those deals. You don't call your thumb a finger unless you only one time it would be like, how many fingers do you have on your hand? 5. But if you're talking about the thumb individually, it would just be a thumb. What I'm getting at is hot dog technically is a sandwich, but you just wouldn't call it that. So that's my official answer, is that yes, it is a sandwich technically, but, no sane person is going to call it that. And if they do, immediately stop, dismiss them from your life immediately. Because you don't need people in your life like that. Alrighty, we have an email here from they're just going by one of the 10s and 10s. One of the 10s and 10s. You guys can put your names. I mean, I guess if you don't want to put your name on here, you don't have to. But she goes, "Hey J-Kenn, here's an ordinary average guy/gal problem." Yes, that's what I'm here for, people. That's what I'm here for. I have experienced every problem ever that has happened to an ordinary average person. So I'm an open book. I'm an open book. How many golf outings is average for a father of 3? Oh boy. How many is appropriate for a parent? Does it matter if it's for work or with friends? Does it matter if we do it every year? Does it matter if it's on a weekend or during the week? All that being said, should there be equal time given to the non-golfing spouse to have 6 to 8 hours of kid-free drinking with friends time? Oh boy. This is a tough one. Not tough. It's just, it sounds like a marriage counselor in this one. And then they go on to say, and since I already know you've agreed that the spouse can have such time, when can Casadilla and I go out wine tasting and listening to live music? This weekend. Mile of Music. That's when you can go out listen to live music. But I'm going to be there. So, unfortunately, that's not the case. Golf outings. I'm fortunate enough where for work, I do get to go to not always. It's not, guaranteed, but historically speaking, two to three golf outings per year for work. Which means like during the work day, I get to go golf. Now, a lot of people roll their eyes at that, but it's like, no, actually, I'm trying to talk to people and I'm trying to get the word out there for what we're doing and doing the networking thing and, trying to do that. I will say there's people at my work that I work with that go, it fucking seems like every week. And whose ass they're kissing, I don't know. But whatever. It is what it is. But I would say, 2 to 3 times is so, but I guess put it this way. I go 2 to 3 times, but that's for work legitimately. And then it's like, me personally, I'm home at a decent hour. Like it's during the work day and I'm at home for a decent hour. So if I'm going to answer your question, if, how many golf outings is average for a father of 3? How many is appropriate for a parent? Does it matter if it's for work or with friends? So I think it does matter where you're going with this here, because if I'm going to go, because a couple of weeks ago, it was a Saturday, and I went golfing with some buddies that I went to high school with. It was a Saturday morning. And, but even then I was home at a reasonable hour, but still that was, like that 8 hours of just me with my buddies. And I don't do that a whole lot. I really don't. And I'm not saying, it's not necessarily by design. It's just because I just have other stuff going on. Yeah, and family is a lot of it, but also, like I said, I'm doing this, I just got a lot of other stuff going on. So I would say that, what the fuck am I talking about, dude? I could easily answer this question. Every other week I go golfing with some buddies after work. Every other week. Craig, who was on the show, he was on the season ender last season. He was on the last episode. I go golf with him every other week. So, okay, here's the answer to this question. If it's a work thing, legit work thing, you got to give him or her a pass on that, because that's legit work thing. Like, it's for work. And now if they're coming home at 10 o'clock at night and they're shit-faced and trashed, hey, 2 or 3 times, whatever. But after a while, it's kind of like, come on, get your shit together. Like, obviously, but if you're going out and, doing job and you have a few drinks or whatever, that's part of the gig. Especially like if you're in sales and stuff like that, it's part of the gig. So you can't get too bent out of shape on that, because that's what they sign up for. Now, going back to my case, I go golfing. This year, I've gone golfing every other week with some buddies. After, like on a Monday, Tuesday night or something like that. But in return, my wife does her Momco thing. She's in this group called Momco. It used to be called MOPS, Mothers of Preschoolers. Then they changed the name to Momco. And she does that. That's her thing. And she does that, she does that a lot. So, there you go. So that was kind of the thing. So yeah, to answer your question, I do believe in fairness. So like, there's got to be some give and take there. So yeah, anyway, long story short, if you and Castilla want to go wine tasting or something, that means me and your husband get to go sit at a tavern some afternoon, or maybe go golfing. It sounds like your husband's been golfing a lot, though, by the question. So anyway, all right, we have another email from Actually. What does he say here? Hey, J-Kenn. Okay, this is the subject here, is just trying to help the quality of the pod. He goes, hey, J-Kenn, I feel obligated to send an email to start quality talking material, as I am anticipating skipping through multiple minutes of this podcast due to... I feel obligated to send an email to start quality talking material as I am anticipating skipping through multiple minutes of this podcast due to the death of Ozzy and Hulk Hogan. Rest in peace, no disrespect. Oh, man, that's funny. How about an answer from the Ken Man on a hot debate? Do you weed whack before or after cutting the grass? The answer is after, of course. Love the pod, loyal listener, actually. Dude, I'm against you on that one, too. I weed whack. So this is how I do it. I weed whack first, okay? And I got a lot of weed whacking to do because I got a fence. I got 2 fences. One around the pool, one around the yard. I got a swing set. I got enough concrete driveway. And then I weed whack the curb as well. I got an island in the front yard that I got to weed whack. I got enough weed whacking to do. So I weed whack first to get all of that done. Then I take my push mower and I go around the perimeter and everything with my push mower. Then, if I have time, I'll take my blower and I'll blow everything to get everything into the grass. Like because the way I weed whack, all the grass mainly, it's not really weeds or weed whacking, it's grass. The way I do it, the way I stand, it shoots in behind me into the lawn. Now, the reason I do it like that is because then when I cut my grass, it sucks that up then. Now, 60% of the time when I cut my grass, I bag it. So my theory there is that I'm getting all of the grass from weed whacking and all that. I'm getting that all into the bag. Now, there is some thought there where it's like, well, especially like right now, I'm not bagging it because it's hotter than hell outside. Things I've read, I'm leaving the grass a little longer, and I'm also cutting it and leaving the clippings in the grass to help cool the soil, if you will. I think I read that in a book or something. So, but my theory still is weed whack first to get that shit into the lawn, into the lawnmower, get it mixed in with everything else. So that's my thought. So it's funny. I am curious why you would do it after. Because I feel like if you cut your grass, you have everything nice and looking, and then you weed whack, like the tall stuff, then all those like long blades are just going to like land, and they're going to stick out like a sore thumb. That would be my thought. And that's why I don't do it like that, because I don't want them to stick out. I want them to go through on the grass, and then they go through the lawnmower and they get chopped up. So that's my thought. Great question. Great question. All great questions, guys. Appreciate it so much. I'm going to end the podcast on this note. I was thinking, so not one fucking person told me, get a charcoal grill or get a gas grill. No one. Oh my God. I don't even know why I try. I got 3 emails from 2 different people. Oh my God. Just send me a goddamn email at jkennoag@outlook.com. The Ordinary Average Guy Podcast Show on Facebook. Send me a message. It's not that hard. You're sitting looking at your phone anyway on the shitter. Send me an email. All right. Sorry. And if you are going to be sending me an email, I am curious. If you work in an office, this is a question I have. Because I'm going to murder somebody here pretty fucking quick. What is the protocol? Like, we have a coffee machine. You have to make a pot of coffee. It's like this tall cylinder, and you got to pump it to get the coffee out into your cup. And I just feel like people that don't, take the last drop of coffee and you know what? If you're listening to this podcast and you know who I am, and if this is you that's doing this, there's a cold, special place in hell for people like you. You take the last bit of coffee and you don't refill it. Like, what? Why? Especially at 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning. Fill it up. Now, I personally believe, and I want to get the message out there because I need there to be transparency on this across all workplaces in the world. Noon, I would say, if you go in and get a cup of coffee and it's 12 o'clock or later, and you take the last drop, you're off the hook. You don't have, that's my opinion, you're off the hook. You don't have to make another pot. If someone's coming in for coffee at 2 o'clock, they shouldn't be upset if it's empty. They should, okay, yeah, fuck yeah, it's 2 o'clock, yeah. And then if they want coffee, they make a pot, they drink it, whatever. They're drinking coffee that late, whatever, it's on them. But if it's 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 8:30, 11, that's noon is the time. If you take the last drop, you need to take the 3 minutes and start a new pot. That's my opinion. And 12 o'clock is the cutoff. If you take the last drink after noon, after 12 o'clock, you're off. Let me know if you agree with that. I'm curious. And I mean, I've gotten into the, I pride myself. If I ever to get a different job, or if I ever look for another job, I'm going to put on my resume, I fill the coffee pot when it's empty. I'm putting that on the resume. Because if I was looking for a person to work for me, that's something that would be very attractive on the resume. Be like, well, goddamn, you're hired. We need people like you. Good people. You can tell a lot about a person if they fill that pot of coffee up or not. And when you pump it, you can even kind of, like, I got into the point now where it's like you can sense, oh, she's getting empty. She's getting empty. And, sometimes you just kind of like, there's more in there. You can't refill it because it's going to overflow. And you don't really want to dump it out because it's still hot coffee. But, there's one cup left and the next guy's going to get it. He's going to have, he's screwed. But if you're the next guy, you got to refill it. That's my score. So I'm curious, what is your protocol? If you get the last cup of coffee, what time is it that you say, no, screw that, I'm not making a new pot. It's just going to sit here. It's going to get cold. Because I've done that. I've definitely done that. Where I refilled a pot of coffee and it's a little too late in the day. And then I got to the office the next day and I come in and I start pumping up my cup and it's coming out good. I'm like, oh, sweet. Someone made coffee this morning. Someone that got here first. And I start taking a drink and it's ice cold. And I'm like, son of a bitch, this is the coffee I made last night. Shit. Or yesterday afternoon. So I'm curious. All right, that's the episode, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. 10s and 10s. I love you. I love you guys. I don't know what I'd do without you, to be honest with you. I don't know what I'd do without you. Rest in peace, Ozzy, Hulk Hogan, Theo Huxtable. Jeez Christ, everyone's crazy. All right, guys. Check you later, man.